Alright guys, so in this video what we're going to be doing is removing the wallpaper glue that's still on the wall after removing the tire and the back layer of the wallpaper. So whenever you take down wallpaper, after you get it off the top layer and then the back layer, and you can see the back layer, it's all over the floor here, you're going to be left with some residual glue that's still on the wall here. And in this case it's on the primer here. This is an oil-based primer that they used to seal in the old wallpaper, and then they installed new wallpaper on top of this oil primer. So I just got off the top layer and the backing layer, and now I have the job of getting all these loose fuzzies off the wall and the residual glue that you don't even see because the residual glue is transparent. So that's another, whenever you take down wallpaper, you have to wash off the residual glue that's still on the wall. And a lot of times you don't see it because it's transparent, but it's very important to get rid of that, because then when you go to prime or apply your top coat, that water-based paint is going to mix with the glue, and it's going to make your latex paint crack. So it's very important to get rid of that residual glue, and I'm going to use just hot water that I have in this bucket right here, and a drywall sponge. Okay, so as you can see, the drywall sponge, one of the sides is more coarse, and the other side is just a sponge here. So the more coarse side is going to really scrape away any of the backings. This is the backing right here. So once you get this wet, it'll grab onto this here. So what I like to do first is just wet the wall down. So I'm making sure that I get this hot water onto every surface of this wall right here in this amount of area that I have shown here for the camera. Okay, and when you get the backing wet, the backing is going to turn more darker. So that's a telltale sign that it's ready to be scraped away. So it's starting to get easier now. I can really start to feel the glue. And again, it's transparent, so you're not going to see it on a camera, but you will see it in your bucket here when you bring out the sponge. The water is starting to get milky white. So I'm going to use the coarse side here. Okay, and that's what the sponge is going to look like there. So it's clean again. Okay, so it's not all coming off onto the sponge. So what I'm going to do is put this down here in the water. I'm going to grab my 4-inch blade here. This is a flexible drywall blade, and I have my mud box. This is the only thing that I use a mud box for. I don't use this to tape with. I don't like to put the mud in here, but this has a blade on this side and this side, and I like to use this to remove the wallpaper glue. So I'm just going to scrape up here. And just by doing that, since the wall is wet, this brown paper and glue is coming right off, and it's sticking to the edge of this flexible 4-inch blade right here. Okay, I'll bring this up to the camera so you can see it. So that is what's on the wall that's so hard to remove with sponge, because there's glue and stuff on it. And as you can see there, this blade does a great job in both cleaning off my 4-inch blade and keeping the contents of the glue and the paper in this so it doesn't fall to the floor or whatnot. So I'm just gently going up. Okay, so this is just what came off there. So I'll scrape this into the box there. And now it's contained in there. So I'll use my sponge. You can see how dirty that the water is. Let me see if I can show you guys. So once I scrape it, then I'll go back over it with the sponge. And now it's easier to remove all those areas. You want to get as much of the residual glue off as possible here. You're not going to be able to get 100% of it off, but if you can get like 95 or 96 or 97% off, then there's less of a chance that that glue is going to interact with your primer or your top coat. So while this water is not dirty now, so I'm going to grab my 4-inch blade here and work on this area here. This area here is where the seam was. And you can see all the paper is loose here. So the water really saturated into the wall. Okay, so I'll show you guys what I got off here. I'll wet this down again. Clean this out, and I'm going to use the rough side of the sponge here. And once you're done with that, you can go back to any areas that were stubborn and didn't come off. Sometimes all it takes is to get rid of probably 3/4 of the spot where it contains the glue, and then once you get that 3/4 off, then it should come very easily off with your sponge. using my finger as a hawk here, but you can just see the remnants that comes off of this blade right here. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this section of the wall. Thank you very much for watching.